Okay, here we are. Well, welcome for people that are watching the VOD, most likely. This is compLexity for TongFu. It's a match for Beyond the Summit World Tour, and I'm casting it because the other game between LGD and IG got massively delayed, so that's why we're here. And I have a co-caster with me, Gods. Welcome.
Thanks for the nice introduction, and thanks for also stepping in to cast this game. This is the round of 12, and compLexity against TongFu, East versus West. This will be exciting.
And I didn't have time to check. But what server are we actually on?
The first game is being played on a Singapore server. Game 2 will be on US West, and then Game 3 will be, I think, a coin flip.
Okay. Depending on if there is a Game 3, of course. I didn't see the new logos just yet. Logos, like the battle begins with the Sanjin Yasha there, and the colors. I do like that.
Yeah. I love when the picks and bands are done and everything like sort of moves together towards the middle.
That was the most awesome thing about the entire Captain's Mode screen, that you don't have to sit watching there waiting for something to happen, but you actually have stuff happening at the screen rather. And am I seeing correctly that this game is not listed for the spectators in-game?
It should be listed for the spectators in game. Let me have a quick look.
Because otherwise there would be like a bar on top of it saying like Beyond the Summit, right?
No, it is listed. I'm looking at the watch tab now. There, it's there in pre-game with some viewers, so it's there. I think it's. I'm not actually sure why it doesn't work. I've seen it in other tournaments where the little info at the top's there, but
exactly.
It doesn't seem to happen in our tournament for whatever reason. But
oh well. Oh well, doesn't matter.
We can make do with that.
Yep, we can just continue saying Beyond Summit a couple of times.
this isn't the international yet.
No, just
we're not quite there.
I mean, you can see the things on the side, but yeah, it takes some time.
But yeah, as far as these two teams go, I mean, TongFu, the Chinese team, of course, but they're not really. I feel the stereotype of the Chinese team is focusing a lot on farming is something that's slowly changing, and TongFu are one of the teams who do play very aggressive, and it's going to be interesting to see how compLexity deal with that. compLexity, a team who, I would say they have a more passive approach, but they do like to push down a lot of towers. Yeah,
well, from what I remember, I mean, it's been a while since I've casted both TongFu and compLexity, actually, but TongFu, from what I remember, is if Hao gets in a hero that he can be fairly aggressive with, he's going to be really aggressive with it. Like his Queen of Pain, for example. If they manage to get that on him, that will be an aggressive game. Yeah. I'm curious indeed to see how compLexity is going to deal with that, because they are, like you say, they're not that into getting kills. More like map control and stuff like that is more important to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all about the map control, and they use that to get the towers, and then they basically pick and choose their fights based on that, and they'll get a few kills here and there, but it'll never be the big on sort of aggressive team fights. And they're going to start things off by giving compLexity the Invoker here, and that's going to be, well, probably your solo mid here, and that's something which has been seeing a lot of play, and with good reason. Yeah, and it plays towards that map control. I mean, even if TongFu gets some aggression, Invoker is that kind of hero that can just stop pushes, like on where they go. So they do go for Morphling, fairly early pickup for Morphling, though we have seen that lately, like the last 2 weeks, last week or so, that Morphling has been picked up really early for a lot of teams because it has such a massive impact mid-game as well as late-game, if he gets his farm up enough. And Rubik, also a hero that we see a lot. Yeah, Rubik, I mean, I like Rubik because he can go into the support role, or he can also go into that solo mid. I mean, Sing a perfect example of a player who's played him as a solo mid, then every now and then he'll play him as a support hero. Probably going to be Hao playing the Morphling. He tends to play the hard carries when they get them. He's known for his anti-mage and Morphling as much as he is for his Queen of Pain, but the fact they've gone for the hard carry route means they'll maybe be slightly less aggressive here and just focus on getting the Morphling farmed up. But compLexity, this is looking, well, as far as map control goes, this is very similar to what like MTW do. They get the Lone Druid, they get a nice support here, and the Venomancer, they have a lot of pushing potential and just the ability to control the map and push down towers, pick and choose their fights. Yeah, let's see what TongFu, another counter pusher for them. I was gonna say, they have to do something to maybe control the pushing coming in from compLexity, and Beastmaster is the hero to do that. And of course, a good disable for if Lone Druid gets way too fat. Can at least shut them down for a period of time. Of course, you always have the bear running around, but it's a thought that counts. Yeah, and we'll see where they want to ban, what they want to go with a couple of bans here. I mean, compLexity now with Invoker and Lone Druid, they've got two heroes who are fairly farm dependent. They'll probably want to ban out some more of those utility-like heroes, such as the Windrunner, maybe some more disables. Because right now, compLexity, the only real disables they have is coming out from the Invoker. TongFu, on the other hand, I mean, they've still got plenty of options. Sure, they picked up their hard carry, but I still feel they can really go anywhere with this draft. I mean, you've still got heroes like Enchantress in the pool if they want to be really aggressive and get that jungle hero, or if they want to stack auras, they can get a Vengeful Spirit, get the Beastmaster and Vengeful Spirit aura stacked together and really look to sort of go for a push of their own in the mid game.
Yeah, and this does seem like Rubik is going to be playing a support role with Beastmaster solo and Morphling on a dual lane. I don't, maybe with the Rubik. Rubik could actually still be solo. Not sure. But I am quite surprised that there's no Enigma or indeed, like you say, Enchantress being picked up, because I mean, those jungle heroes, you either want one and then you can ban stuff out so that your opponent doesn't get one, or you don't want anybody to get them, so you ban them out instantly, like in total. So I'm quite curious.
Yeah.
I think we'll see at least one of the two banned out here. Maybe if compLexity bans out, for example, a Enchantress, they're gonna pick up the Enigma so that they can have the jungle role, and TongFu won't be able to get anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, compLexity are definitely a team who tend to run the jungle heroes. Not all the time. If they don't, they often prefer to go for the dual lanes. They don't like to stack the tri lanes. They prefer to sort of maximize their XP and gold game. When you run the tri lanes, you have three heroes who end up a bit under-leveled. And we see one jungle hero being banned out. It's going to be the Enigma. So maybe TongFu hoping to pick up the Enchantress with their fourth pick and just sort of trying to ban out the other jungle. We'll see if compLexity, though. compLexity pick first. So if compLexity want to get the Enchantress, they have first grabs.
Yeah, I actually think TongFu would maybe considering banning out the Enchanters themselves, because just for that risk of compLexity having a jungle hero and they don't, I mean, that's just a risk that you don't really want to take. You don't want to give your opponent that much advantage in the jungle with experience and gold. And of course the advantage of being able to be fairly aggressive early game with that Enchantress coming out the jungle to push stuff.
Yeah. And it is going to be compLexity's last ban here. So, I mean, with TongFu, I mean, they've got the Beastmaster who probably has to go into either solo mid or solo bottom. It looks like they would run Rubik as a support here, just unless they want to pick up two supports with their last two picks. But I feel Rubik is going to be one of their supports, and they'll want to pick up some solo mid that can sort of not really need too much farm. I'm not sure what they want to go. I mean, but heroes like, well, Windrunner's a nice one that you can just go for the cheap items like Mech and 4-star. Heroes like Pugner as well, you can just get up a Mech. But they need something that can go fairly well against an Invoker, which, well, not too many heroes do.
Yeah, what I'm also kind of missing is, I mean, of course we have the Sand King ban out and the Enigma as well. But, for example, the Tidehunter has been pretty much in favor lately as well, even though I don't know for these teams, but, like, team fight in general, there goes the Enchantress indeed. Not risking the jungle hero up on compLexity.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely a hero you want to ban out now, and I definitely agree. Tidehunter could work really well with this TongFu draft. They could run it as a support with the Morphling. Something which, I mean, the Morphling generally goes in that safe lane, but what some teams are actually doing with him is sending him solo mid against the Invoker. Morphling can do okay in a 1v1 matchup at mid if he sort of morphs a bit to agility to help him last hit. You've got the waveform, you go for a fast bottle. He does okay against Invoker 1v1 mid, so it's not really guaranteed he's going to the safe top lane, but there's the Tidehunter, there's compLexity's Tidehunter, and it's probably going to be Hannah Montana who normally plays an off-lane solo Tidehunter, and then they can run the Lone Druid in the safe lane, or they may run the Lone Druid at top.
And there's the Tinker. I like the Tinker pick, even though I'm not a big fan of the Tinker hero myself, the whole principle that you can't really do anything in the March of the Machines, with March of the Machines being, from my point of view, slightly imbalanced, let's put it that way. But it does fit into their lineup. I mean, you want to give Morphling that time to farm, and Tinker is the hero to do that. I mean, nobody's going to be able to push into your base, even if they can manage to push down the towers with that Tinker there. And what I'm missing from their lineup is an Earthshaker from TongFu.
Oh yeah, I think Earthshaker, I mean, that would give them some really strong lanes as well. I mean, you have like a Rubik, Earthshaker, Morphling trial, and there's no way Morphling is going down. He's hard enough to kill as it is, but when you have a Fissure backing him up, you can be defensive, you can also set up the kills with a Fissure block, or just a Fissure to start things off with a stun. So it would make a really nice last pick here for TongFu. Or they may want to go for something that can maybe just sort of use that dire jungle. Something that the teams like to use, especially the Chinese teams, is they'll sometimes run a tri lane at top and they'll just use all those creep pulls. They have the 2-3 different camps you can all pull to get some XP on your support heroes. But compLexity have mixed things up a bit here. Visage has been the last pick for them.
Yeah, and he makes for very aggressive early game. I mean, his tri-lane is just... I don't think I've ever seen him lose the tri-lane, like on the lane itself.
Yeah.
Ever. Well, since he's in. This is not that long ago, of course, but... Yeah, super strong hero. And probably gonna try to put it up against the Morphling, maybe to deny him some extra farm.
Yeah, and in tri-lane versus tri-lane, Visage will really shine and do well. He'll come out on top because basically the more damage done to heroes, the more damage his nuke will do and the more often you can cast it. So you want to put him in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. I mean, you can put him against a solo hero if you can get the setup stun, which is going to be looking to come from the Venom, maybe even the Tide. This could be possibly a Venomancer Tide Visage tri-lane with the, I think Lone Druid and Invoker are going to be running the solo role. So Tide in a tri-lane here, maybe Tide and Visage sharing the farm a bit, maybe Tidehunter getting most of the farm, but TongFu, if you're up against Visage, ES fits perfectly. You need to be playing it safe, and Fissure is the perfect counter-initiation spell.
Yeah, it seems like they're not quite sure yet, though. It's gonna be Shadow Shaman, even though I do think he's gonna be played as support as well.
Yep.
Throwing some aggression from their own on their own tri-lane, I would imagine. Oh, names.
Yeah, I think this will be a support Shadow Shaman. It's generally what the Chinese teams like to do, and they basically use him, pulling the creep camps, pulling the wave back, trying to just out-farm your opponent hero in that safe lane. Whether it's a tri-lane or a solo hero, you can pull the wave back using the pulls. If you're against a tri-lane, you just have to play very safe and out-level them using those pulls. So it will be, by the looks of things, support Shadow Shaman, unless we see something completely crazy like a Beastmaster jungle, but I don't think TongFu are the team to do that.
No. Definitely not versus versus a Visage, I would believe. So I'll go over compLexity. I'll let you go over TongFu. I do believe that you have some more insight on them. I mean, not that yeah, whatever. Sorry. We have Fluff and Stuff is going to be playing the Visage on the top lane. Well, everybody's going to the top lane, so I guess we can't really say anything about that just yet. Hannah Montana, like you called it, on the Tidehunter. For compLexity, TC is going to be farming up that Lone Druid by himself. IX Mike will be playing the Venomancer, and Yeo will be playing the Invoker, closing up the lineup. Everybody going towards the top lane, actually.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to have time to introduce TongFu here, as there's possible clash here. They're going to run right into TC's Bear, and I think, well, they'll either back off or look for an opening here, but I think both teams just going to be in a bit of a standoff here.
That Gale. Oh, Awoke is in trouble. There goes the Gale. Morphling reforming through. Hannah Montana in a lot of trouble. Has to back up. Walks right into the Marching Machines. Tinker getting the first blood. Fluff and Stuff on the way out as well. Ether Shock there. Yale on the way out. This might end very badly for compLexity as they lose their second hero. Fluff and Stuff still on the run. TC as well. Will there be another Axis? No. We form through. TC will still drop though. 3 for 0. Gale still misses though, but yeah, 3 for 0 in favor of TongFu. That March of the Machines.
Wow.
Tidehunter ran right into that one.
That's a great start to TongFu, and as said, this is TongFu. I'll quickly introduce the team who just got off to a 3-0 lead before the creep spawn. We've got Moo playing the Tinker, heading towards the mid lane by the looks of things. Awoke on the Beastmaster. He's going to be going towards the bottom lane, I believe, soloing up against that Tide at bottom. And then over in the top lane, the tri-lane, we've got Kabu on the Rubik. We've got Hao playing the farming Morphling. And then finally, on the support Shadow Shaman is going to be Sancheng.
Yeah, and a magnificent first start to get that extra goal up. Which were actually the heroes that got the kills? It was the Shadow Shaman got one, and Tinker got a double kill. What a massive advantage that he has over Yale in the mid now. He already has his bottle, and yeah, magnificent start for him. Indeed, double kill and first blood money.
Yeah, and top lane TC just getting harassed down by Sancheng. The Invis Visage comes out, and those nukes, I mean, a hero like Shadow Shaman is very, very squishy, so you need to be careful not to take too much damage. And Kabu, the Rubik, is not even close to the lane. He's using those pulls at the moment just to get himself some XP and farm, so they want to be careful and not play too aggressive at top. Yeah,
main purpose, keep Hao alive and give him as much experience as possible, because right now he is getting experience on a 2 versus 1 lane with the rest all in the jungle. And that extra experience, of course, is very welcome to the Morphling.
Yep, and I mean, Hao didn't actually get any of those kills at the start, so that's going to, I mean, it means Morphling isn't getting massively ahead or massively farmed. He did get assists, but when you're roaming as 5 and you're all getting assists, you're actually only getting maybe 10, 15 gold for those assists, so it's very, very little. But Moo at mid lane, with 2 kills, with an assist, he got the first blood. I mean, that's bottle and boots, and we're just a minute and a half in, so he's going to have a very easy time here. Top lane, though, they found Sancheng, and it looks like they're not going to fully commit to him, just finding a Gale, no follow-up from Fluff, and compLexity. the aggressive trialing, I mean, this is going to be the important lane for them, and they're already off to a bad start with all those deaths at the first creep wave.
Yeah, if they're gonna continue to commit for this lane, they really have to be trying to get some kills out of that. Maybe actually should have gone for Sunshine, because otherwise you're just giving Morphling extra experience, and he is still able to farm. Not that good, of course, but he's getting some last hits. Not as much as TC, but it will come. I mean, as long as he stays alive, he's having a good lane.
Absolutely, and I mean, for now, it's the early levels where Shadow Shaman and Rubik will use these pools, but once they get level 3, level 4, that's when they'll look to go as a proper trial, and that's when they'll stick together and look for those kills, because they'll be level 3, level 4, and the Visage and Venomancer will be lower level, because they don't have those pools. Yep. They'll still be level 2, maybe just hitting level 3, but they'll be out-leveled, and support heroes who are higher levels, they're the ones who'll set up the kills. It doesn't matter what level and how much farm the Morphling and Bear have, it matters what level the supports are. So TongFu will have the advantage, just not at the early levels, which is what they're trying to sort of fix by using these creep pools at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, what we already see is Rubik is very close to level 3, Shadow Shaman almost to level 3 as well, but Visage still level 1. So that's indeed a massive difference, and it will only get bigger if they keep doing the lane like they do, because Visage is getting some experience where he is right now, and it's still 3 versus 2, so still the advantage for TongFu, and it will keep growing. In the meantime,
so I think you may need to check your overlay on Expert. I think you're still on the wrong overlay.
I'm not used to that, because I have like you know, I only have the new captain screen since a couple of days, so I'm not really used to switching it up all that much. Switched it now. 2 minutes delay. Apologize. Yeah.
It's alright. Things happen. It wouldn't be the first time. These sort of things have happened to me or anyone else. But back to this game. I mean, Shadow Shaman and Rubik. They're basically jungling together. Like, this is essentially a jungle Shadow Shaman Rubik. They're both level 3 now. And if you compare that to Venomancer, just level 2.5, Visage only just hit level 2. I mean, there's a big difference in terms of XP here, and I think that the only thing they're really sacrificing is a bit of Morphling's farm and giving the Syllabear slightly better farm. So TC on that Lone Druid is doing slightly better than Morphling at the moment.
Yeah, and for now, I mean, levels are a bit more important than Morphling. Morphling will get his farm eventually, because eventually the supports from compLexity will leave their lane, and in that case he will be able to get a lot more farm and only be dealing with the Lone Druid, and he will leave his own lane at some point as well, just to go to those lanes where he can get the farm more freely. And actually, they have all joined the lane, so I'm wondering if they want to try to go for something here. If they want to be slightly more aggressive, but they back out again. Well, mid lane in the meantime. Sorry.
No, I was just about to say, I think they're just waiting for the next pool camp to spawn, and they'll go back and do it. But I'll let you talk then.
Well, yeah, mid lane. We have only looked at the top lane, and the aggression there is not that bad, because people are so careful right now because they know what to expect from the lane. But Invoker is actually doing okay-ish versus Tinker, who had, of course, a massive head start. 23 for 9 upon the Tinker, with Invoker being 15 to 2. I mean, he's not doing that bad, but he is in a Quas-Wax Invoker, so those last hits don't come as easily as an Exort Invoker. And of course, the head start of Mu did give him an extra hard time, even though he is level 6, just like the Tinker right now. And Tinker actually going for the rearm at level 6, which is not something I normally see, purely because you don't have the mana pool to actually use that. Oh, he goes invisible.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. It is something that it's not often picked up this early, but I think he's expecting to get a very fast boost of travel, especially because of the fact that he got the first blood, got all those kills, and he's got his soaring up before his boost of travel as well, so he can actually afford to use the mana there. Fluff at top gets found out, and that's the advantage of having those high levels on those support heroes as well as the Morphling.
Yeah, and extra experience again with the Visage going down, and that was indeed the lowest level hero that we saw, even though he's now at the same level as the Shadow Shaman. I think he just hit level 3 Visage, but yeah, painful. Just picked off like that. And Venomancer actually had to go back as well. I mean, if we look at his health, he's actually going back all the way to base, and will walk back up there again after he's regened up.
Bottom lane, another lane we haven't talked about. Bottom lane is Beastmaster actually got forced back to base, and both Beastmaster and Tide are both level 6 now, so they can't really kill each other because they're both really tanky, hard to kill heroes, but one TP in, they can get a kill, or they can TP to another lane and set something up, so Tide may look to help out the top lane with his Ravage soon.
Yeah, both are heroes that have those level 6 that you want to do something with. I mean, when Beastmaster is level 6, which, well, level 7 even now, you are expecting him to look for those kills. But
and Tinker now. He's sacked the Ancients. This is why he got the early rearm.
Ah, there we go. Usually something that you see only the Beastmaster do, as in letting Beastmaster get that solo experience, but because Beastmaster was first a lane where he got that experience as well, he doesn't need it as much as you normally see when he's on a solo lane, so they can split this, or even give it all to the Tinker.
Yep. And I think what they actually did there, something I didn't quite notice myself, is it would have been the Quill Beast which was actually stacking it. So Beastmaster was sitting in lane while stacking the Ancient Camp with his Quill Beast. So just using a bit of micro and keeping an eye on the clock, you can stack that without actually sending any heroes to stack it. And then Tinker comes in a bit later, finds himself a heap of farm. He's now very close to his boots of travel.
Yeah, in the meantime, while he's not in his lane, Rubik has rotated mid and will take up Invoker for a second just to get that extra experience, get that level 6. And having that extra farm upon the support. Fluff and stuff, instant trouble, getting shackled up, damage going through, he'll drop. Morphling getting the last hit actually. Sunshine still in some trouble from the Gale, but IX Mike has to back off. How on his tail will be able to get out. Here comes the Tide Hunter, there's the Ravage, hits on How. Is it going to be a kill? Yes it is. Hannah Montana picking it up. A Ravage well used, even if it's only for one hero. That's a Morphling, and that is definitely worth it.
He missed the kill as well. He missed the waveform on IX Mike. I'm so surprised he actually missed that. That was a big mistake from Howe, something I've never seen before.
Maybe a mistiming, yeah, probably. Can't be the lag because it's a Singapore server, so they are slightly at the advantage, I would say.
Yep, no, definitely. TongFu have the slightly better pings this game. This is the first game on Singapore. Next game will be on US West, but I think that was just a misclick or a pure mistake. Just clicking in the wrong place, maybe not being entirely used to the Dota 2 mechanics, as a lot of the Chinese teams still play Dota 1, but nothing much else to say about that. It was a mistake, and compLexity now pick up their first kill, and I mean, a Tide Ravage being used just on one hero is often still worth it, especially in the early game, because you're not going to get the big team fights this early on. You'll just have the split push going on. Bottom lane, they found Tinker, maybe. Is there enough damage? There's not going to be. TP's coming in. Fluff has to back off now.
Yeah, Woke still has his roar ready, just in case he sees something. And any one of these targets, I mean, both Invoker and Visage would have gone down if they were roared. I mean, there's just too much damage coming out, with the Tinker having some mana left as well, like full mana even. Having used his bottle.
Yep.
And he's being saved, and Marching Machines up more. Marching Machines being maxed out first, just need for those Ancients. Something that we see more often, as in the Marching Machines packed level 4 first. Especially by European teams, though. Yeah, I think, and that's something that the Chinese and Asian teams have actually picked up and started using because of those European teams. Uh-oh, bottom river, Awoke is going to get IX Mike by the looks of things. Roar being used, but just a solid clean kill. Still got a Gale for that, but yeah, worth it. The Gale bit does basically nothing. You got more regen than the Gale does. Gale level 1.
Yeah. And I think TongFu want to sort of, they don't want to push right now, but they're going to go for that mid-game push once Tinker, he's got his boots of travels now, he's level 9. They have Beastmaster looking to maybe start building up a mech for the team. And they're out-leveling their opponents quite strongly, so they can actually use those levels to start pushing towers. They've got the Serpent Wards on Sancheng now, he's level 6, so they can actually start pushing now, and compLexity, well, they're not that far behind in farm, they're behind in levels. IX Mike only has level 2 Plague Ward, so it's going to be really hard for them to defend towers.
Yeah, and they're not even going to try for this one, it's just going to drop, well, like I said, levels, and with the Ravage backup, they need to force out some team fights, because that is their strength right now. I mean, they have to do it when Tinker is not there, of course. Marching Machines being too strong, especially with those low-level heroes in there. But team fight-wise, they have the strongest lineup. Once Venomance is also level 6 with that Poison Nova, of course. But that is just, they have to wait for that. Until then, there's not much that they can do against these push-ins coming in from TongFu.
Yeah, and even Invoker, I feel, needs some levels. He's going for the Tornado EMP combo, but I mean, right now he's just sitting on Tornado Cold Snap because he doesn't have enough points in Wex, so you're going to need to see Invoker level 10, level 11, maybe even a bit higher before they can really team fight against TongFu, and it's basically a waiting game for compLexity. They're trying to get these levels, They've even split up their heroes a bit. They've got Fluff soloing at the bottom lane for the time being and just trying to protect TC at top and counter push this using the Venomancer, using the Invoker.
Yeah, roar up on Visage. There was a Tinker that TP'd into the Hawk, and that was just a clean pickup. With Visage still level 5, so that's a level 9 Tinker and a level 9 Beastmaster fighting against a level 5. That is quite painful. Shadow Shaman has rotated to the bottom lane as well. He doesn't have his wards right now, but I think when he does, 20 seconds, this will be another tower going down. And I feel like what compLexity tried was strong tri-lane, team fight, early game dominance, and then ended in like 30 minutes before Morphling got enough farm. But right now, their strategy is not working out for them at all.
No, absolutely. And a lot of it comes down to that level 1 team fight, where they gave TongFu 3 kills. Uh-oh, Fluff in trouble once again. He's TP'd into a lot of enemy heroes.
And there goes the board. Another TP, and yeah, wow, he's slightly out of position. Gets picked off. Shadow Shaman just getting an easy kill, and another TP in by himself. They just come in one by one and die one by one. There goes Hannah Montana, still uses Ravage, managed to get a kill upon the Shadow Shaman, but still goes down. And I don't think that's worth it.
No, not at all. That was not a good trade for compLexity. They lose a tower, and they just kill the Shadow Shaman. That Shadow Shaman's playing support. And, well, he's not really that underfarmed. He's getting some levels, he's getting some farm. It's not like they're really shutting him down. And compLexity, I mean, they'll take anything they can get, but that was not a good trade, and they're losing out more. Top lane, the tier 1 tower goes down as well. TongFu find themselves looking very, very good here. Hao sitting on 2k gold on his Morphling. The only hero for compLexity that seems to be doing fairly well is TC on Lone Druid, but he's being forced off into the jungle now to start farming there. Yeah,
and the trouble with the Lone Druid is, of course, I mean, he does need that farm. He does need that, you know, he had a strong lane. He was able to farm quite freely, in theory, but his team is now so far behind that it's going to be very difficult for him to be able to carry his team because they are so far behind. I mean, if we look at the levels in total, we see a level 5 Venomancer and level 5 Visage, and the supports from the Dire team are like level 7. That's 2 levels difference, and that is massive. We also see that back into the experience ground, of course, 7.5k. Oh, cold snap happening somewhere. Hannah Montana getting roared up. Axis will fly, and Tinker Laser getting the last hit. With Awoke getting cold snapped up there, he will be able to back out. I don't think anybody else is going to drop here unless someone's being very, very careless, but everybody is backing out safely. 1 kill once again. Again for TongFu, and again on the Tidehunter. Yep.
It's so hard for compLexity to actually pick up any kills with the 4 staff now up on Mu and the Tinker. They just can basically rearm, reuse it, and just get away from all these heroes. Even if you get entangled up by the Lone Druid, I mean, that's one form of lockdown. They've got the Cold Snap, the Venomous Gale, but all these spells can be really easily countered by that 4 staff. And now TongFu, I mean, they're going to keep on being aggressive. I mean, this is mentioned at the start of the game. TongFu, a team who will be aggressive, and compLexity, they're all about map control. They're all about pushing down towers using that map control, but they haven't managed to really get their foot in the door yet. They just have been completely shut down by this aggressive play.
Yeah, and Beastmaster so much farm that he thinks, you know what, I can buy a Gem of True Sight. I'm not going to die anyway. I can counter with all I want. Oh, this is nice. Ward trap up on Awoke at the Roshan pit. Totally locked in. Can't go anywhere. He'll be able to get a 4 staffed out though, but I do think they're only going to do that after he is after Roshan has been taken down, which is totally a safe takedown here. I mean, they're not going to get contested for it, and even if they were, they would win that fight for sure. Tinker level 12. It's just too much to deal with.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's a hero who really does scale well with all those levels. I mean, he'll start getting the laser leveled up as well. You get additional DPS in these ganks. And compLexity, I mean, they smoked up. They're near this Roshan pit. They don't really want to find a team fight. They want to look for a 1 or 2 hero pick-off, and they're going to scout things out with those birds. They find Awoke. Aegis is actually still on the ground.
I was going to say, this was tricky, but Hannah Montana being turned to a piglet has his Ravage ready. There we go, is being used. We got Shadow Shaman in some trouble. Roar going off in Invoker, though. He'll be the first one to drop here. I do think, no, the mechanism pops. It's on the Dire side, though. There goes the Invoker being taken down by the Tinker. Shadow Shaman drops as well to the Visage, who is now level 6, by the way, as we saw his familiars early, but gets taken down. Double kill for the Tinker. Hannah Montana on the run. Axis will fly, and there's the triple kill from Mu. And the rest is on the run for their life. TC still, I mean, he's only died once. He's not doing that bad. He got 2,300 gold, but he was just not able to participate at all in that fight. Venommancer did get level 6 in that fight, so he will have his Poison Nova for the next team fight that will happen, but if it's gonna be in time, for sure.
Yeah. That's the thing. Complexity, their lineup's all about team fights, but they can't actually win team fights yet because they're under-leveled, and Venommancer now has his level 6. Bear still can't teamfight himself because he needs his Radiance, really. He can't really contribute much unless he gets an Entangle or two, but it's not like his Bear's hitting fast. He hasn't got too many levels. He hasn't got the Rabid yet. He's just sort of acting as a bit of a tank.
There goes the Entangle, though. Tornado through. Rubik is going to drop here. Tidon to picking up the kill, and they don't have a Ravage, but they're still okay in this team fight. Guys landing on the Shadow Shaman. Another Entangle, another kill. Tidon to double kill. It's going to be Awoke. It's going to be the target now, but they have to run through the March of the Machines, which is now over, so that will help somewhat, and he will go down. Still lands a Roar, but Gush ending his life, pops the Aegis, and let's see if they can kill it again. And here comes Tinker. He actually TP'd in on something. He's gonna get killed though. Lone Druid picking up the kill, and this is a bad fight for TongFu. Overextension at its finest, and there's the kill, and he drops the gem, and his Visitor picks up the kill. Tinker coming back in though, lands a rocket, picks up 2 kills with that. Triple kill for him. Wow. Okay. And okay, he picked up one more, and that was a team wipe. It was going great for complexity, but then all the TP's in, all the buybacks. Do you think so?
Yeah. Tinker bought back and just said, "Well, okay, you guys can kill my teammates, but you guys are going down."
Yep.
Moo is, and he's going for a Dagon. He's level 15. He's about to buy a Dagon. And he can just Force Staff, Dagon, rearm, Force Staff and Dagon again. He's going to have so much DPS.
Yeah, so much burst damage, and the only thing that I think can stand it is Lone Druid and maybe the Tidehunter also, but the others are going to drop really fast. If they are by themselves and Tinker has something to TP in on, they are as good as dead. Every single time.
Yeah, it's really hard. Complexity can maybe take TongFu by surprise and win a fight. The problem is going to be TongFu, if they have buybacks, they can buy back, and Complexity can maybe get 1 or 2 pickoffs at the start, but they're not going to win the fight if Tinker buys back, TP's back in. They can kill him once, they're not going to be able to kill him a second time.
Nope. Especially not if he TP's in at some point where everybody's low on HP and is just lasering last hitting heroes left and right. And of course, one thing to note, Complexity did not have the Ravage in that team fight. With the Ravage, it might have ended differently, but it started out really good. Yeah, because Tidehunter uses Ravage in the Roshan pit.
Yeah, and Complexity, they're not out of this entirely yet, for sure. Tidehunter's, like you say, he's got his Ravage, it's now level 2 Ravage. He's also picked up a mech, so that's a really important teamfight item for Complexity to get. The other important item is going to be the Radiance on the Bear. And then they'll be pretty set. Then they can start taking these fights. They're going to find one at mid-tide. Big Ravage. I don't know if there's enough damage. TongFu have their own mech as well. And they're looking for that. A Ravage actually gets stolen. Tinker turning it around. Going to start setting up kill after kill. And it looks like Complexity are just going to drop one by one. Unable to get themselves a single kill in that fight.
Yeah, we have TC in some trouble now too. Getting stunned, getting shackled. He's gonna try to just run away. Visit wasn't so lucky. TC might actually be able to do that because he is one of those heroes with a lot of armor, so he is gonna be able to get away, but he's the only one from his team to do so. 3,500 gold. He is very close to his Radiance, but in this fight, was Morphling even there? Nope. He was just farming on the top lane. Morphling almost has his Lincoln Sphere. Might just change his mind and go for something entirely different, maybe for an Ethereal Blade already, because it is going so far in their direction that Lincoln Sphere might not even be needed anymore. But
he's going to go back to base now. It is a Lincoln Sphere. I don't think it really matters entirely what he gets. He just needs some late game item, whether it's the Lincoln's, Manta, Ethereal Blade. He's going to get really farmed, and this is going to get hard to defend.
Yeah, they might be able to kill up Mu here again though. Cold Snap hits. And that is going to be a kill indeed. Invoker picking up the kill. So that is something that they can get back in return, but it's only a small comfort after losing almost their entire team and the last tier 2 tower that was still standing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. As far as towers go, compLexity have not taken a single tower yet this game. They've hardly done any damage to any of the towers as well, just chipped a bit at mid and bottom tower. The top one's gone down to about half HP, but compLexity have not shown any signs that they're going to start pushing down any towers, although they're moving towards mid lane now. They may be thinking that with Tinker down, they can take a fight, but I don't even know if they can do that. If Morphling decides to show up, he hasn't made to any of these fights, like you mentioned, and then it's going to get really hard for compLexity.
Yeah, for now it's only Rubik. Rubik that still has a Ravage in his back pocket. 31-second cooldown though, but he'll be looking to use it as soon as that is up. That is the spell that you want to steal from the Tidehunter. They will be able to take down their first tower, so that's a comfort there. Getting some extra gold up, which is mostly important for their support, because they have not been able to get all that much. I mean, apart from being behind on levels, that tower gold is just so important to get those standard items up on your supports, like a Bracer, like Boots, apparently like an Urn on the Visage, which is quite an awkward choice for the Visage to have, because he does need some kills to be able to do that, and so far he's been dying before kills have happened.
No, it's definitely, I have to agree, it's awkward because you wonder where he's going to get the charges from, but I think it's, half the reason is because it gives him strength. It's +6 strength, it's more survivability, and it's a cheap item that gives you HP, so it's just some way of tanking it up, and if you can get a charge or two, it will help him out, but getting those charges is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, and Invoker just got picked up. One telekinesis and everybody just showing up, just right-clicking, and some lasers going down, and that was an easy kill. And it looks like they're really looking to push in. They don't have the Morphling with them still farming. Okay, they're back off. they know
and I think
TongFu.
Yeah, and I think TongFu are just kind of, I mean, in some ways, it's just sort of taunting compLexity. They say, well, we're only with 4 heroes, and we don't have to push because we've got this Morphling who's been free farming for the last 23 minutes. And sure, the Bear's got some decent farm, but he's being out-farmed by Morphling now. Not to mention, Morphling has all this tower gold, and they're going to get Roshan when it respawns in a couple minutes as well. So it's just more and more things going the way of TongFu.
Yeah, they are looking really strong, and we see compLexity. They are still leaving their base. I mean, TC of course feels comfortable in doing so with being a very tanky hero, but they're not going out of their base that much anymore. I mean, they take the farm that comes towards them, but other than that, oh, now they're actually gonna leave. They smoked up. They are gonna look for fight. They have a Ravage again. See if they can find something. Maybe Rubik? Nope, Rubik knows something is wrong. Force staffs himself forward. Actually, they smoked right onto the ward of the dire
Oh
team.
no. That is unfortunate. This is your sort of your trademark compLexity smoke gang. If they get slightly behind, or even if when they're ahead by a bit, but if they're looking for an opening, they go for these big, massive smoke ganks, and it looks like they're pinging. TongFu know they're coming, and they're just going to sit right back, hug their towers, stick together, wait for Roshan to respawn. compLexity do not find anything with it, so they're going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Yep. At least they can now farm a bit in their own jungle, which is of course a blessing in disguise, somewhat. Looks like TongFu might be using a smoke of their own, or at least they're gonna try something. Is Roshan back up again? Oh, that's close. 1 minute to go.
And Morphling is up to 3k gold. That's going to be Hal with his next big item up soon. I'd say probably just go for an Ethereal Blade at this point. Being able to shotgun down some of these under-farmed squishy heroes. I mean, Venomancer, Visage. Visage, slightly less so. His passive actually is really good against Morphling because it acts as a layer and you basically cut down each layer. So the first nuke will get greatly reduced. The second nuke will get slightly less reduced. You want to sort of basically break down the shell before you use your shotgun. So Visage is actually a good hero to have against the Ethereal Blade shotgun combo.
That is true. Although I do think that, yeah, well, actually he got a fair amount of HP now with his urn also completed. He can probably take the burst indeed. Venomancer will probably not be so lucky with his almost 900 HP.
Yeah, and it's only 16%. I'm looking at it now. It's 16% for the first layer, 12% for the next nuke, and it's not actually a massive reduction, but it's still something. And For now, I mean, there's even heroes like the Invoker, like the Tidehunter can be shotgunned down. I mean, he's got his Planewalker's Cloak now, but he's sitting on 1k HP, and this is a Morphling who is looking to get very, very farmed and have a lot of agility if he wants to have it. So, TongFu now, I mean, they're probably just going to go for Roshan, I feel, and this time, they'll probably try to get it on Morphling as they want to go push, or even the Tinker. I mean, Tinker's showing that he can be picked off and go down, so maybe having the second life on him could be the way they wanted to go.
Yeah, he now also picks up a Blink Dagger to have that extra survivability, and they are going to go for Roshan, but this time compLexity is quite close, and they have smoked up. They are going to find some heroes though. If they're going to be fast enough, I'm not sure. Familiars might be able to get a stun in on someone. Deafening Blast still hits on the Woke. Do they want to continue? No, they don't. Too close to the tower, too risky for all the TPs that are likely to come in if they continue that. And of course, they might lose their tier 3 tower on the top lane, because Morphling is just happily farming.
Yeah, they really wanted to go in there. They dived so far because they knew Morphling was top, and I think they felt TongFu only had maybe 3 heroes ready to fight, so they could take a 5v3 fight, and that's kind of, I mean, what compLexity like to do is use that map control to their advantage, but it didn't work off there, and Morphling still right-clicking away at this top tower. He's almost going to get this tier 3 tower here. Bear is about to show up, but this is a lot of damage being done, and meanwhile, TongFu getting Roshan.
Yeah, I'll actually replicate it to his uppercut in the Roshan pit, so he'll probably be the one to pick up the Aegis. And with that, he almost has his Ethereal Blade completed as well, so we will see him in some team fights. And I do think that when he has that complete and he has the Aegis, TongFu will be looking to kill off some tier 3s and some barracks as well. And at this time, I'm not sure what compLexity can do against that. I mean, they have to try to get TongFu to make a mistake and then go in for the kills, go in for the Ravage, but until now TongFu is playing it, even though they are very far ahead, they are still playing it fairly secured, fairly safe.
Yeah, I mean, as far as ahead go, I just take a look at it now, 20k gold lead at just 27 minutes. It's a massive lead, I mean, but compLexity, they've got the Radiance up, they've got the mech, they've got the impressive teamfight with the Tide Ravage, the Invoker as well, the Venomance ulti. They've got the heroes who can sort of fight even without massive items. But at some point, having those items on Tinker as well as Morphling just makes a huge, massive difference.
Indeed, and still the only tier 1 tower that went down was the one that went down like 10 minutes ago on the side of TongFu, and yeah, that doesn't help for the gold difference in favor of TongFu.
Yeah. And, I mean, Morphling just being able to shotgun down some of those heroes who lack items. That's what you need against the shotgun, is to have your support heroes with some just braces, a vitality booster, Drum of Endurance, anything to give them HP and survivability. But TongFu are going to look to punish the fact that they're ahead by such a big margin with this Ethereal Blade. And it's up in about 100 gold for Hao, and then he's probably going to start coming to these fights.
Yeah, and then they'll start picking the fights as well. The Necronomicon level 1 on the Beastmaster now as well, so he'll be looking to build that one up, and they smoked up actually. I'm not sure where they think that they can go, because they have a lot of wards, so they know about which heroes are actually out and about of their base, which is basically nobody apart from Visage now standing fairly aggressive. He's microing his familiars a bit, trying to find the Tinker most likely. He's not going to find it though.
And it's a smoke this time from TongFu. They're looking for that opening. They're not going to find it. And, well, I think they're going to look for a team fight now once they have these set of items coming.
Yeah, and they're going to go in for TC first. There goes the Ravage. Shank is going to be the first one to go down, though. Invoker picking up that kill. 4 staff up on the high ground from the Tinker. Roar going off, but the Krieger shall make sure that he stays alive up on the Tidehunter. Rockets will fly, but so far no hero being picked up just yet. Good defense from compLexity. I really thought that there was going to be deaths.
Oh yeah, they picked off one hero really fast. They killed. Yeah. They went for the perfect target, Shadow Shaman, the squishiest hero on the TongFu side, and then they backed off. They didn't suffer any losses. That was a perfect team fight from them.
Well, the only danger that they have now is that they don't have the Ravage anymore. So if TongFu decides to pressure him further, they might not have as good as defense as earlier. Ethereal Blade actually being used now on TC, but doesn't really do anything all that much. And he knows that he has to back off when the Beastmaster starts moving in there. And Hao now actually backing off as well. Oh, they're gonna go aggressive. They are outside their base. They want to go for Hao. If they're gonna be able to get it, one entangle is needed though up on that bear. Go on, you can do it. Sometimes you're lucky, and sometimes you're not. I mean,
I don't see them killing How. He's got the Aegis, he's got Waveform, he's got Morph to Strength. He's not even morphing to Strength. He's just going to throw his Aegis by
there goes his Aegis indeed, and we have got Fluff and Stuff taking a lot of Dagons from the Tinker, who is, there we go, next Dagon, picks him up. How on the run again, Beastmaster able to pick up the kill up on the Invoker. And we now have Hannah Montana being locked in with creeps, and just right-clicking him down because he can. Hannah Montana is gonna drop here, gets turned into Chicken Telekinesis as well, and he will drop indeed. Shadow Shaman picking up the last hit, and that's everybody down from compLexity, and they were really aggressive with that chase down, and I do think that is gonna cost them more than a tier 3 tower.
Yep, that was a bit too aggressive. I mean, you mentioned they don't have their Ravage, and they're chasing so far outside their base, and How? He was baiting them. He knew he had the Aegis and wasn't going to die. In fact, they were chasing him for that long, and he didn't even morph stats to Strength. He wasn't cared about living or dying. He knew his team would win the fight, so he just stayed on pretty much all agility. He was sitting on 1k HP when he could have morphed to 2-3k HP, but he just said, compLexity, you guys can keep on chasing me. My team are coming. And we're going to win this fight. And they win the fight, they get the racks at top, they're going to get the racks at mid, and compLexity, they're calling GG. And this game is, as Fluff has said, this game's over.
Yep, this is definitely over. As I do think that with the laning that compLexity was intended, that start where they lost 3 heroes at the start, that was just what ended up doing them in. I mean, they needed that good head start up on the tri-lane on top, and they didn't get it. So that's a disadvantage.
Yeah, and it's kind of an awkward tri-lane that they had anyways. It was the lone druid in the tri-lane. I mean, they like to run Tidehunter on Hannah Montana as a side lane solo, but I feel lone druid just doesn't really offer much to that tri-lane there.
True. And now we're gonna see the throne explode hopefully soon, and I do think this is the best out of 3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
So we're gonna see game number 2. As I'm expecting compLexity to change about their strategy a bit, and maybe even ban out the Morphling, even though he wasn't really the hero in this game. It was mostly outlaning. Yeah,
no, I definitely agree. I think it just came down to the lane setup and the individual play. Being in that top lane and just really using the fact that compLexity couldn't get any kills, and it was a tri-lane versus tri-lane, but it was a situation where TongFu weren't really sticking to a tri-lane. They had jungle support heroes which were getting XP, while the Veno and the Visage did nothing. The Visage tri-lane just did not work out at all.
Yeah. And then I will launch my outro and we'll get into the next game and we'll see what that has to bring. Be right back.
No problem.